It was hard to see over the last 2 weeks anything else on the nationwide news but the coverage of Trump comments on Muslims and the identity of the San Bernardino shooters. Both represented pretty much one side of the story. But with all this, mainstream news have barely mentioned attacks on Muslims gathering pace in America, and there were quite a few last week alone. Award-winning journalist Glenn Greenwald listed just a few on his Intercept magazine. Let's take a look. First off, we go to Lake Chabot in California's Alameda County, where this woman was apparently very enraged that a Muslim couple was praying on a lawn in a park, and she went on a loud vocal rant accusing them of being terrorists who tortured Christians, as she put it. Then she tossed hot coffee into the man's face. Now we go to Georgia, the Gwinnett County, where a teacher confronted an 8th grader, assuming that only because she was Muslim and wearing a hijab, she necessarily had a bomb in her backpack. Because of the things happening in the world today, said the teacher when she was asked to explain her actions. Despite the obvious psychological trauma to the girl, parents said that they forgave the teacher and no legal action seems to be on the cards at the moment. In Florida, the city of Tampa, 2 women were leading a prayer when they were attacked. The lawyer of one of them says that she was shot at and the other was driven off the road. Both were wearing hijabs, and local police has no doubts it happened because of their religion. Again, to California, Coachella, 75 miles where the San Bernardino shooting happened. The mosque was set on fire on Friday. Its congregation was left in fear, nonetheless continued praying right in the street. The sheriff of the town said this was possibly a hate crime and that the perpetrator was detained. Now we go to Grand Forks, North Dakota. A Somalian restaurant, and pretty popular one as well, was set on fire purposefully, according to the local sheriff. Luckily, this happened in the middle of the night and no one got hurt. But it's the second incident at the very same place. In just a few days, one of the most popular restaurants in the area was spray painted with Nazi slogans. Now we go to Alabama, where local KKK went public, recruiting followers to, as they say, fight the spread of Islam. Muslim activists such as the CARE organization filed their outrage to the local authorities, but so far there has been no response whatsoever. Speaking of CARE, their office here in Washington, D.C. was evacuated last Thursday after receiving a hateful message and white powder in the post. A note reading, "Die painful death Muslims," was in the envelope with the powder, the group's lawyer said, and 2 CARE workers were eventually quarantined, but thankfully the powder did not prove to be toxic, and all that in just 1 week, and that's not even all of those incidents. All are just a fraction of attacks directed at Muslims in America since the turn of last month. But it seems when it comes to people of Islam being targeted here, the focus of attention is immediately shifted. Alexey Yaroshevsky, RT, reporting from Washington, D.C.